resist a little bit, while agents then boarded her onto a white chartered bus that was parked right outside the federal courthouse here.
America, the Trump administration just escalated immigration enforcement to a whole new level. ICE agents are now arresting migrants directly outside federal courthouses after their immigration hearing in over 20 states. We're talking about dramatic scenes where agents in plain clothes are dragging people into charter buses while protesters try to intervene. But here's the kicker: the Biden administration had actually banned this practice, calling the courthouse arrest a sanctuary space. Trump threw that policy in the trash where it belongs.
While earlier this week in Phoenix, protesters gathered outside an immigration court as ICE agents in that city effectuated similar enforcement operations over the course of 2 days, according to our sister station, KSAZ.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This is exactly what we voted for. No more catch and release. No more games. No more treating our immigration system like a joke. The gloves are officially off. Let me break down what's happening across the country. ICE agents are conducting targeted arrests at federal courthouses immediately after migrants attend their immigration hearing. This is happening in more than 20 states, and the scenes are absolutely wild.
The Trump administration is escalating immigration enforcement efforts, now targeting migrants at courthouses all across the country. Arrests this month happening right after federal immigration hearings in more than 20 states. In some cases, agents pushing through relatives and protesters to secure these arrests.
News Nation correspondent Jorge Ventura captured some incredible footage in San Antonio. You can see a female migrant being arrested by agents in plain clothes, clearly emotional, saying, "Help me," as she's being loaded onto a white charter bus parked outside the federal courthouse.
Trying to hold back. She was attempting to resist a little bit, while agents then boarded her onto a white chartered bus that was parked right outside the federal courthouse here. And these scenes are now playing out across the country. There you can see she's trying to resist as much as she can before being loaded on. And
this isn't isolated to Texas. In New York City, at least 15 migrants were taken into custody in the middle of a protest. These were people who were attempting to obtain U.S. citizenship at federal court, according to government leaders. In Phoenix, federal agents were seen walking out the federal courthouse with migrants in custody while being surrounded by angry protesters. Here's how the operation works. It's brilliant. It's simple. When migrants show up to their immigration hearing, ICE attorneys are immediately dismissing their cases. By doing this, they remove migrants' temporary protective status and make them eligible for immediate arrest and deportation.
Migrants attending their immigration hearings at federal courthouses across the country. Right now, we are just outside a federal courthouse. We did witness some migrants going inside and attending their immigration hearings. And by targeting these individuals, we are now learning that ICE is dismissing their cases, and that's where they're being arrested immediately after leaving courthouse.
Immigration attorney Orlando Vasquez explains the process.
It's the attorneys for ICE that are in the courtroom. They are dismissing the cases. And once they dismiss, that respondent no longer has an application pending before the immigration court. So as soon as they step out of the courtroom, if ICE grabs them and takes them to a detention center, they can argue that they have no pending application.
This is what Secretary Kristy Noem calls reversing Biden's catch and release policy. ICE released a statement saying that most aliens who illegally enter the United States within the past 2 years are subjected to immediate removals. Biden ignored this legal fact and chose to release millions of illegal aliens, including violent criminals, into the country with a notice to appeal before an immigration judge. The Biden administration actually banned ICE from making arrests at courthouse, calling them sanctuary space violations. They claimed it would discourage migrants from showing up to their hearings and interfere with the judicial process. But think about how backwards that logic is. We're supposed to make it easier for people who enter our country illegally to avoid the consequences. We're supposed to create a safe space for people who broke immigration laws. That's the kind of weak American last thinking that got us into this mess in the first place. Trump's new approach is completely opposite. If you're here illegally, you have to appear in court. That's a perfect opportunity to enforce our immigration laws. No more games, no more sanctuary policies, no more catch and release BS.
For an immigration judge, ICE is now following the law and placing these illegal aliens in expedited removal as they always should have been. This new strategy does fast-track deportations by dismissing those cases by ICE attorneys, and what that does now, Laura, is it does make them eligible to be arrested.
Trump administration is also removing senior immigration officials who were part of the Biden catch and release system. Kenneth Janelaw, I hope I said that right, and Robert Hammer were both removed as the White House seeks to ramp up pressure to increase the number of arrests and deportations. Of course, the usual suspects are losing their mind over this. Protesters are showing up to Courthouse chanting, "No more ICE! No more ICE!" and trying to physically interfere with arrests. In San Diego, federal agents reportedly had to wait in hallways and waiting rooms because of this type of disruption. But here's the reality that these protesters don't want to acknowledge. These people entered our country illegally, and now they're facing consequences of their action. This isn't some human rights violation. This is law enforcement.
And also in Phoenix, federal agents can be seen walking out the federal courthouse with a male migrant in custody. You can see there's tensions are rising. This is in Phoenix, and these agents, while having a migrant in custody, were also surrounded by protesters. Some of those protesters chanting "No more ICE." In San Diego, there was reports that federal agents reportedly waited in hallways and waiting rooms at immigration courthouses. Now,
the immigration attorney that we heard from earlier admits that not all migrants arrested in this operation will be deported immediately. It depends on their criminal history, whether they can request protection while being detained. But the key difference is they're being detained instead of released back into American communities.
Even though they're detained, it doesn't mean that they can't request a form of protection while they're being detained. The majority of them will still go before an immigration judge while they're being detained, where they can pursue protection or a bond.
The courthouse operation is just one part of Trump's broader immigration enforcement strategy. We're seeing raids in workplaces, Home Depots, neighborhoods, and now courthouses. The message is clear. If you're here illegally, there's nowhere to hide. Reports indicate the Trump administration is not satisfied with the current deportation numbers and is looking for ways to increase arrests and removals. This is exactly what the American people voted for. Remember, these aren't people seeking asylum who just arrived. Many of these individuals have been in the system for years, going through the legal process, and their cases are being resolved. The difference is, under Biden, they would have been released back into American communities after losing their case. Under Trump, they're being held accountable. The white charter buses parked outside courthouses are a symbol of something much bigger: the return of serious immigration enforcement in the United States of America. No more catch and release, no more sanctuary policies, no more treating our immigration laws like suggestions. After 4 years of Biden's open border policy that allowed millions of unvetted illegal aliens into our country, we finally have an administration that's serious about enforcing the laws. The scenes we're seeing at courthouses across the country might be emotional, but they're also necessary. Every person being arrested had their day in court. They went through the legal process, and now they're facing the consequences of entering our country illegally. The protesters can chant "No more ICE" all they want, but American people spoke loud and clear in November. We want our immigration laws enforced. We want our borders secure. And we want people who enter our country illegally to face real consequences. This is just the beginning. Trump promised the largest deportation operation in American history, and he's delivering on that promise. And the days of treating American immigration laws like a joke is over. I'll keep you updated on this story as it develops. And remember, elections have real consequences. And this is exactly the type of consequences that we voted for. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.